going on? It's your boy Cuban Mic. You're listening to 102.9 Tape Deck. As you can see, I'm wearing red. I hope you enjoyed your Valentine's weekend because I was lonely as hell, y'all. But I'm happy. That's all that matters. But tonight, I have a special guest in the building. She's a dear friend. She serves in the community very well. You know, an exceptional human being. I mean, it's perfect. She's a black queen. It's Black History Month. We're doing black things out here. And, you know, she took the time from her busy schedule to come hang out with the Cuban out here, man. So I want to introduce Kelly Ford in the building. What's going on, friend?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. How was the ride? How was the traffic?
Traffic wasn't too bad. You know, Boston was doing what it does, being Boston.
Okay. So one of the things that to my audience, I know you guys been on me because I've been on my super uber duper activist Cuban stuff. So I'm gonna pull it back for a few. I'm gonna come back and do my hip hop thing and bring other people amongst my community. But I have Kelly here in the building, and she does something extremely special. And you know, there's a lot of things I want to discuss because she had an event yesterday, and we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about all the dope things that she does. So just to give it a brief introduction, what is it that you do, Kelly?
Oh gosh.
I know you do a lot. You do a lot. So you do a lot.
All right. So I'm the executive director of the Methuen Youth Community Center, which is brand new. The first community center, youth community center that's coming to the city of Methuen. And it's really exciting stuff. I'm also a facilitator, and I've been doing that for about 3 years, where I go around and I train people on just different leadership skills, soft skills, and just really trying to help them grow and also empower. And I'm also a motivational speaker. And so I coach a lot. I coach, you know, my biggest thing, and you and I have had conversations about this before, is I'm always rooting for the underdog.
Yes.
And so always empowering people, especially empower educators. And so we can do better and just move forward and move the work forward because it's important for our community.
That's what's up. I'm going to drop a big gem here because you're a lady for a lot of gems. You give a lot of gems. You drop a lot of gems. And you have a phenomenal story that it's a must that you share with my audience. Okay, I'm going back to my hip-hop ish. So J. Cole, when he came out, I think it was the second album, he had this tour. And the name of the tour was called A Dollar in a Dream. You know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
And you have a story. It's not $1 in a dream. It's more like $500 in a dream.
Yes.
But the story is so dope because it's like, you know, it's the stories about ambition, striving, you know, not quitting. Just when you think like, you know, you're not about to get anywhere and you got the whole weight on your shoulder. It's like this is a story of struggling and striving and succeeding and just like taking it to the next level. So can you please tell the story how, you know, basically you became the lady with $500 in a dream?
All right. So you heard me talk about how Boston traffic is crazy. Yeah. I am not from Massachusetts. I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl.
Yeah. I know you're going to give me no props. I don't care. I don't care if I was in Jersey for 10 minutes. I'm still one of y'all.
I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised. Jersey's home base. I always say Jersey raised, Boston trained. And so...
So you left all the pollution of New Jersey to come to the racist state of Massachusetts.
Well, the interesting story behind that was, you know, and I know we talk a little bit about like my faith in God.
We're going to get to that. So trust me. We are going to get to that.
And so I just heard a calling. You know, I started hanging out in Boston, coming out, started making friends that were out here. And, you know, I was like, I'm going to move to Boston. And, you know, at the time I was a teacher in Newark, and my contract didn't get renewed. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll go to Boston this year. And the exact number is I had $536.
Oh, so you have $536 and a dream.
I had $536. And so I packed up my car with garbage bag full of clothes. And I'm like, I'm going to move to Boston with a part-time seasonal job making $20 an hour. And when I got up here and I was like, yeah, I'm going to find an apartment and I'm going to do all these things. And they were like, no, you're not. You getting a roommate. And I'm like, what? I ain't getting no roommate.
Now, here's the thing. Do you know anybody in Boston before coming to Jersey, or you just said, I'm just going to wing it and come over here?
Yeah, no. I wasn't that wild.
All right.
So I did have a couple of people throughout my church. They knew some people that were out here in Boston. So I had a connection that got me a summer job that was here. And then it was up to me and my responsibility to find a job moving forward. And so that was also interesting. So it's a whole nother plateau, and things were said in contracts. I was supposed to be living someplace rent-free for 6 weeks. That did not happen. And so when I tell you my first 6 weeks in Massachusetts was something else, it was tough. I've been in situations where I never had like electricity sometimes growing up, but I've never been in a position where I didn't have any food. And so that was my experience when I first came to Boston, because I'm like, oh, wow, with my $500 and making $20 an hour, I got to pay rent.
Yeah.
And I still had a car note at the time, which, not to be funny, my car note was $560 at the time. So where is my money going?
Yeah.
But I wind up finding my way. And, 6 years later, this is my role. This is my second role as an executive director. And, now I have a master's degree. And so, it was a whole process with that. But it was tough. It wasn't easy, for sure. But yeah, $500 in a dream.
And I could just imagine, like, your first day in Massachusetts, like, how scary was it?
Well, at first I was excited because, again, I told you I'm from Jersey, and, we ain't never scared of nothing.
Oh, look at that.
Right?
Talk that talk, Queen. Talk that talk.
We ain't scared of nothing.
I thought Raymond done told y'all.
However, I remember maybe like the third week, it was tough. Now I had to pay rent. Then, people were tampering with my car because at the time I had Jersey plates and tinted windows. They were messing with they were putting dents in it. They were messing with the windshield wiper, but I knew that it was on some type of other time. Once I got to, American Legion Highway? Was that the light?
Yeah.
Somebody rolled up. I was sitting at a light. He hit the back of my car, pulled up on the side of me, rolled down his window, and it gave me the finger. And I was like, oh, no. Watching my mouth here. And I followed him, and I called 911 while following him because I'm getting his license plate. Just, again, I'm from Jersey. I ain't scared of nothing.
Yeah.
911 dispatcher, please stop following him. And so, and then, sadly to say, at the end of that 6 weeks, too, maybe around the fifth week or so, one of my really good friends committed suicide. And so that was tough. And then now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, I have no money. I'm broke. I'm making sandwiches to eat. I got people tampering with my car. God, you sure am I supposed to be here? Mm-hmm. And so I wrestled with that and I questioned it. And so it was tough and it wasn't easy for sure. But, I'm glad that I stuck it out and, seeing just the true fruits of my labor that came out of that.
Did you ever thought about going back to Jersey when the whole thing was going down?
I ain't no punk, right?
I know.
I'd actually, I never thought about going back to Jersey. No, I just always, like, how am I going to survive? How am I going to do this? And so it's never, I come from a long line of women who are just soldiers. And I just never had it in me to like, oh, let me just go back. No, let me cry in a corner and let me figure it out.
Yeah.
And so we rocked that way.
Remind me of you seen the Biggie movie? Mm-hmm. And there was a scene where the actor playing Puffy, he was doing the Puffy role, and he was like, "You could throw me there in the jungle with a tiger, and I come back with a chinchilla in that movie." That was you, I guess. You came back with a chinchilla and a fur coat.
No. I still have the Honda.
Oh, okay. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, no matter what kind of obstacle you put me through, I'll take it, I'll face it, handle it, and be ready for the next round.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You pretty much, you're a soldier with yours.
Yeah.
So boom, how long were you stuck in the Dorchester area for?
6 weeks.
6 weeks, and then you end up going
to Everett.
What was that experience like?
It wasn't too bad. That's when I had to kind of bite my lip because guess what I had to get? Roommates.
Yeah. Had to humble yourself?
I had to humble myself. Because, I've been out on my own since I've been 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And so what was I? Maybe like, I don't even know, 32, 33 when I showed up here. Mm-hmm. And now you want me to get roommates? What?
Yeah.
But actually, you know what? Those roommates were a blessing. I've made some really deep and still have friendships with those girls.
Yeah.
And they taught me a lot of things. And so for the better, sometimes we travel together, we celebrate holidays together. And so my resistance to it, just because I've just been so proud. But even when I got sick with COVID, no one else was there but those girls taking care of me, And so I'm really grateful that even happened.
All right. So I want to go back for a second because, streets of Jersey, what is it with you that you want to become a teacher to begin with? Because teacher, especially in 2026, it's probably the hardest job you have to deal with. Because these kids are different. These ain't the kids from the 80s or 90s anymore. These kids are different. They'll punch you in the face if you feel disrespecting them, man. There used to be a time when we used to be in class and we used to like fear the teacher or at least give them some sort of respect. These kids don't have that anymore. They'll get to the point they step to you like, you got a problem? We gonna handle this right now. And get handled. They talk to one of your boys, so that respect factor is not there anymore with the students and teachers. So what got you to become a teacher in the first place?
Yeah, it's different. Well, the first thing I'm going to say is Diane Mayo. That was my Nana. And when I was in the second grade, so I came from Newark, and, Google it if you will, going to a different district. And one of the things that they said to my grandmother was, something's wrong with Kelly. She's not like the other kids. She can't articulate like the other children, and she's not college bound. So think of a trade school for her. And my grandmother, I remember she came home crying after the parent-teacher conference, and I'm like, oh, Lord, was it that bad? Like, what happened? That woman got me hooked on phonics. She got me a tutor. We would sit at that table every night doing homework, and then when I wouldn't pay attention, she'd give her a smack on the table, pay attention, do it again.
Yeah.
And then when she couldn't help me after, to a point when I got older, she found other resources for me. And, with her kind of leading that charge of the first of the journey, and I've had some other educators who've helped me along my way, for sure, like Mr. Mintz. And so one of his most profound questions was, Kelly, why are you so afraid to succeed? And I can share a story with that later, but that's, someone didn't give up on me. And I'm not sure if you can hear this, but I can articulate pretty well. Yeah. I did go to college, associates, bachelor's, master's, looking at a PhD. But,
I like flex.
I'm pretty sure I made a lot of teachers mad.
Flex.
When I think about that and what made me become a teacher is because they counted me out before they even thought to count me in. Yeah. And so how many do we have our kids that people are counting out, that we're calling a problem child, or they can't learn, or they're worthless, or their home life is not the nuclear, way. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a big advocate. Now you're getting me my soapbox. I'm a big advocate for kids. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what that pathway was for me. And it really just started with one person's belief and even feeding that. And so that's how I became an educator.
Wow. And so I want to go back on that. So first day being a teacher, what was that experience like?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah. I got my butt kicked. Yeah. Them kids was running me all over the place.
These were high school kids?
No.
Yeah. All right.
I'm embarrassed to even say this. These were little people.
The preschoolers?
This was preschool.
Yeah. The rugbacks? Tommy and them?
When I tell you they ran
Tommy and Chucky?
They ran amok in my classroom.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't do that. That's not nice. And they were just, they tore it up.
Yeah.
They tore it up. And then, I met a guy because I was doing, gosh, Lee, my story is crazy. I was doing Uber on the side because, again, I don't make enough money as an educator.
Yeah, I know. That's why my heart goes out to y'all.
And there was this one guy that I picked up, and, we were just talking, and he goes, you sound like you know about a lot of things, about little things, though, or a little bit about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I'm a teacher. And he said, oh, my mother was a teacher. And the advice that she's ever given me was, you don't show your teeth until Christmas. When I tell you that I laughed so hard, and what that means is you set those boundaries in the beginning. You set the expectations in the beginning for the kids. So kids really do well with structure. Like what's happening, what's the next step? And shoot, kids will tell you, hey, you're missing a step. I've had kids tell me that before too. They will call you out. Yeah. And I didn't have that because I was too busy trying to be Mary Poppins in the beginning.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, my second year, it was on.
Yeah.
We had a great year.
Yeah, so it was pretty much like, have you seen the movie Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh my gosh, a long time ago.
Yeah, so if you're the guy that just of it, everybody treated him like a pushover, and by like the 10th time he got to like class or whatever, he's like, I'm not playing with you anymore.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Them kids ran me.
Yeah, so I guess it's one of the things. Once you set the boundary, you be like, you know what, I ain't no joke, so now we ain't playing no more.
Yeah, but even to add to that too, kids just want to feel secure. Mm-hmm. Just like the most of us, they want to feel like, am I loved? Am I cared for? Even if there are behavioral issues that you see. Mm-hmm. And, so when you're thinking about it from that perspective of like, how do I want to have a relationship with this child? What does that look like? What's my relationship with their family? Because the other part too is when you're looking at this, it's not them against us. This is a partnership. So working with the family, working with the community, working with the districts, and working with the child. Because again, the hope is that we all want the same thing, which is the best for that kid.
Okay. So you end up leaving Jersey, you come to Mass, and then your next job is...
Yeah, Lord, which one was it? I come to Mass. I think I don't even remember. I think I taught one more year, and I think that was around that COVID year.
Okay.
And so the COVID.
So you did the virtual thing with the kids. You had a.
Ooh, try teaching kindergarten to a bunch of kids on Zoom. And I was not well versed in Zoom at all. I didn't know where the mute button. The kids kept taking themselves off of mute, running to go grab toys. It was a it was a lot. It was a lot. I think there's a YouTube video of me reading a book. So I can send it. I'm not showing it to you.
I gotta find it. I definitely gotta find it.
It's unlisted.
The cow goes moo.
And so, and then, what I realized was I did one more year of teaching. And it wasn't so much of the fact that it was COVID that was happening, but it was more of I wasn't getting excited about some of the outcomes, like having kids being able to read. And I'm like, I told you I would get your kid to read, relax, for some of the parents. And then that's when I hit that realization, I think maybe I've served my time and let someone a little younger come in, and let me find my next thing. Mm-hmm. And so that took me to become a program director for out of school time programming.
Okay.
And I did that for about 3.5 years. And, when I started, we only had 4 programs. And then when I ended, we had 7. And this was also during COVID. I had a really good team, and then we scaled up. And so it was pretty exciting times.
Okay. So you end up leaving that, and then you end up becoming a facilitator after that?
Oh.
What was that in between?
So the facilitator, how that happened, there was this, at the time I was in grad school, and I saw this course called the Art of Facilitation. And the course was $2,000. I went to my boss at the time and I said, "Hey, can you pay for this? Is there money in the budget?"
Can you spot me, son?
Right, because I didn't have $2,000. Seriously, working in nonprofits not really profitable like that.
Wow.
She looked me dead in my face and was just like, "No, I can't." What do you think that did to my self-esteem?
That investment.
I can't see myself paying that for you. What am I going to get out of it? And I was like, "Well, okay," but I read online that they had a scholarship. And so I wrote my story. I was like, well, maybe I can get this scholarship. And so I wrote my story, where I came from, my background, my educational journey, my struggles and my challenges. And, and how I'm the first of many to do a lot of things. I'm the first to graduate high school and, and beyond that. And what it is that I'm trying to do. And I got a $1,700 scholarship. Mm-hmm. I went back to my former boss and I was like, all right, I got it down. Can you pay the rest? Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Cheap as hell.
And it was an 8-week course and it was absolutely amazing. But there was this one little box that was on the screen and it said Susan. I didn't know who it was. But they never had their screen on, so I just thought it was some weirdo, some creep just watching. And I'm like, whatever. It was a good time. And so we did the 8 weeks of the Art of Facilitation with Krista Petty. It was an amazing course. And it was ran through G3 Works, which is a consulting group out here. Mm-hmm. And, I think the next week after I was finished with the course, I get an email. Hey, do you want to be a facilitator? And I'm like, sure. But what is that? Bro, after taking 8 weeks of the Art of Facilitation. And so I remember I went to my very first facilitation where I was doing a training, and I forget what it was on, maybe like enhancing dramatic play or something like that, to an organization. And I was absolutely nervous, so nervous. I told him, look, this is my first time doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But I got all 5 stars. Okay. I had them really interactive, and it was great. And it was actually the one that you came to and saw. There was those folks.
Okay.
That I did. That was my very first one, and so it's been 3 years since then.
Wow, that's what's up. That's dope. So, what I guess for my audience, because I don't know what the heck a facilitator does. So what specifically do they do?
So let me go back a little bit just to give some more context.
Yeah.
And so just about
Because think about it, I keep telling you you're a teacher. I know you're not a teacher, but every time you keep saying that, like, she's something that's like above the teacher stuff. It's like
No.
It's like a coach to the teachers, kind of like Phil Jackson to the Bulls.
No. I'm always going to be an educator, regardless of what title I hold. I'm always educator first, everything else secondary.
School principal, she does something. She does something with kids. Read, counts, arithmetic.
All the things. Yeah. And so Susan Ledger-Ferraro, who's the founder and the CEO of G3 Works, that was the one who gave me that scholarship. She saw something in me that I still didn't even see in myself, which she still fosters that till this day. Yeah. And so what a facilitator is someone who's basically helping to guide, to learn conversations, dialogue. And so it gets really engaging. So for example, if we're going to talk about, I'm not even going to say radio because that's not my background. I was going to use it. Right. But if we're just talking about like, what does it look to have an all-inclusive what does it look like to have an inclusive classroom, like when you're building up your curriculum? What does that look like? What are some things that we're adding for kids that always get left behind, or the kids that we don't always think about? And so it's thought-provoking, it's moving, but it's also to inspire and to help and to lift up others. And so if we go back to what I had originally said, like I'm always going to fight for the underdog. And the early childhood field is one that I am constantly cheering on and rooting for, because I will say it again, this is the only career that produces all the other careers. You can't have an educator. You can't have a police officer without an educator. You can't have a judge without an educator. You can't have a nurse without an educator. You need someone to teach you these things. Yeah. And so when people kind of make light of this, it's like, no, this is important. This is important work, because this is what's guiding our next future. And so the facilitator, it just helps to kind of put some of those pieces together and give new thought. And so when I walk into spaces, I don't walk in and I say, I'm not the expert in the room here. I'm guiding us. I'm guiding the conversation. I'm helping to facilitate this. Yeah. And so that's what just kind of like makes it a little so special and unique.
Yeah, it is very special because we're gonna get a quick break for a second, because I do want to talk about the event you had yesterday. And you know, this is something I got the chance to see up close and personal, besides me being your flunky and taking pictures and videos. And you say, look at like the Home Alone character.
Oh,
like,
you were the assistant yesterday.
That was the work. Yeah, I know. Days never finish. So, hi, America. Hi, America. This is your boy, Cuban Mic. This is 102.9 Tape Deck. I'm smiling. But, yeah, I got my dear friend Kelly Ford in the building. Is this torture? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right.
I'm okay.
All right. So, I want to talk about the event that happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. It was a phenomenal event. Can you tell the audience what happened yesterday at your event?
Oh my gosh.
There was a lot going on. First and foremost, I saw Kelly, hold court for like 7 to 8 hours standing. I ain't like standing for that long, but she stood there for hours upon hours standing. But while she was standing for those 7 to 8 hours, I mean, she was, dropping gems, giving advice, being just, her aura was just like so positive. She was just so beloved because she's been there multiple times. I was able to interact with one of the organizers, and I was kind of talking to her, and I'm telling her not to be biased, but you got a great person here that's like kicking butt, and she's really doing her thing. And she's like, I know, that's why this is like her fourth time I got her over here. So I love her. This girl's great. She's a fan favorite. We try to get her every time we can.
They do. They email.
Yeah. But can you tell about yesterday's event?
Yeah. So,
I gotta find a picture. Dang, I didn't get the picture where you had your mask on.
Don't worry, I have it. I have photos.
All right, I got it too. I just gonna get a chance to put it out here.
So yesterday was another facilitation that I did. It was a full PD day, which is professional development. And so what you saw yesterday was actually 6 TLE schools, 6. Mm-hmm. And, so well over 100 people. And remember when I said before, my first ever facilitation was with one of those groups. And so they've watched me grow. And, over the course of the years, and, I've always shared my wins and successes because they've watched me become a program director to program director and trainer to 2-time exec to getting a master's degree. And so the reason what you have seen yesterday is really my love language and my passion that was coming out. And, even when we say, si se puede, like, yes, you can, is because I went through it. And yesterday was probably the first time that I even shared with them my $500 car story, how I showed up to Boston.
Oh, that was the first time you shared it?
That was the first time I shared that story with them. And so they seen my struggles, but I do it because I was also once in that chair. I was also the participant. I was the person like, oh God, another training. And I never wanted it to be boring. And so, and I know what it's like working in the early childhood field. I know what it's like working in, the secondary, like I've worked in public schools too. And so it's not just private, but it's all of them. And so with that being said, I remember having this moment with God, long story short, there was a moment where I was working for this one organization and I was getting paid $8 an hour. This was a place that literally was giving 10-cent raises, but I got a 9-cent raise because I kept showing up late.
Yeah.
And I remember I left because I was going to go to another school and I was going to make $14 an hour.
Yeah.
Big money at that time.
Yeah. More than dope.
And taxes. Anyway. But I remember the owner, when I told her I gave my resignation, I was like, yo, I'm leaving. And she's like, oh, well, where are you going? And I shared where I'm going and how much they're paying me. And she looked at me and said, with no education? Yo, I was 3 classes away from my first degree. And I said, yep. And I got in my car. And when I tell you that I boo-hooed, cried, sobbed. Because it hurt so bad. Like, why would you discourage me? I'm only 3 classes away from my associates at this point. And I made a declaration to God. And I said, God, if you ever put me in a position of power, I will do right by your people. And so I should have been mindful of what I was saying, right? Because when you start climbing up that ladder, there's a lot of responsibilities up there, but it's good, because it lets me know like he trusts me with that. And so when I come to facilitate a large group like that, it is my honor to serve them. It's my duty to do it, because if I can even just encourage just the one out of that 100+ people, then I've done my job. And so, but I want to be able to move mountains, if you will, and, and for others. And if I can do it, and this is how you get there, or if I could do it, and maybe I'll help you to avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
No, it was dope. And there was a couple of takeaways that I do want to talk about yesterday's event, because you made the group go to like I don't know what to call it, like an obstacle course or like a project. Everybody get together and learn how to work as a team. There was one that stuck out, and it was when you brought one of the ladies, and it was like you grabbed her hand, and then you make sure that she could grab her friend's hand, and then her friend's hand grabbed the other friend's hand, and it was like a thing. It was like it was like teaching them how to lead. So it'll have a chance of leadership. So if I got the tricks of the trade, I'll give you the tricks of the trade, and you could give that person tricks of the trade, and everybody could be like each other's crutches on trying to be like the best because we're working as a team. That was one of the dope ones that I liked from that. And one of the things that you spoke upon when you were preaching to the choir, and it was something, and it shows like your sense of your sense of humbleness, because a lot of people, when they get to a certain position, and I hate saying this because our people got a problem doing that, like we'll get there, but we don't want nobody doing better than us, so we come that crabs in the bucket type thing. So it's like, we want to be here, and we'll let you get as far as you can, but don't surpass me. And one of the things that you mentioned to the people that you were preaching to was, I want you to do better than me. I want you to do, and you kept, bringing that to people's ear, like, I want you to do better than me, because, I'm not going to be your leader forever. And not even that, I want you to serve your community, because that's one of the words you keep saying, serve. I want you to serve. Whether it comes from Jesus or the community, I want you to serve. That stood out. And then I also saw how much passion you have towards your job, because before the event even started, there was a video where this lady went and spoke highly of you, and you got a little bit emotional.
It was allergies.
Of course it was. Yeah, it happens. It happens. But all jokes aside, like when I saw you like almost breaking down, I saw you from a distance. I said, like, wow, you really like love what you do. Because a lot of people either just go there for a paycheck or just try to get some level of status. But no, you really love doing what you do. And I mean, how was that? Because it looked like it was a little bit of an emotional.
Thanks for making me emotional now, because I'm about to start crying.
Oh, man, if you thought that'd be so dope, you'd be the first person. No, you probably be the second or third person that got somebody cry to tape deck. So
you know what? But I'm from Jersey, so I'm not going to cry.
Jersey people cry? Jersey people cry?
No. Well, one, thank you for acknowledging that and seeing that. And, you touched on a lot, which is I'll start from where you started and I'll work my way up.
All right.
And you talked about what I was doing was talking about mentorship.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I really wish I would have started a lot earlier in my career.
That's another way. I'm sorry to cut you. That's another way you keep saying mentorship. So mentorship and serve. It always comes a lot in your vocabulary. So.
Oh, yeah. If you want to be a leader, you first have to serve. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? Because a lot of people always think like, oh, I just have to have the title of CEO and executive and, just have people rank. Like, no. What does it look like for you to serve? What does it look like to have people walk alongside you? So the example that you just gave was I'm walking alongside and I find somebody that wants some mentorship. And, there was a young lady that I pulled and I grabbed her hand and walked her over and I said, all right, this is what mentorship looks like. We're walking side by side. You're not behind me. You're not ahead. We're walking side by side. I'm helping you and I'm helping you to navigate this. And then what the idea of this mentorship piece component is to push you forward. Because as I push you forward, doesn't mean that I don't matter. I do. But I'm thinking about the next generation. And what you're going to do is continue to grab more people and hopefully push them even further. That's how this work is going to move. And so I am very passionate about facilitating, guiding, and leading. And so the woman that, said all those kind things about me, that I was the most motivational, the speaker, the coach, the motivator. Sometimes and believe it or not, sometimes I have a hard time even believing those things in myself. Sometimes I doubt myself. Can I even do this? Even after doing it for these couple of years and even after running organizations at this point, I still have those doubts. Mm-hmm. But hearing it from someone else, and I wasn't looking for recognition. And so it came as a surprise. I was actually shocked. And, because I go there to serve my community. And so when she said it, I did get teary-eyed because before I go into any place, this is more of a spiritual work for me. Mm-hmm. And, and you might have heard me say it, God, use me as the vessel. It's not about Kelly. It's not about anything that I want to do. It's about what do you want me to do for these people? How is their lives going to change? And so, yeah, I got teary-eyed for sure. I did cry, but I try not to because I wear like mascara and running around looking like a raccoon is not cute, even though I did dress up like a raccoon yesterday. And so that was one of their mascots. And to celebrate my 3 years with them, I dressed up as one of their mascots. Yeah. Which is Polite Penny. I don't know if I was supposed to say
it was like you. I was giving you a hard time because I heard you like a Disney character yesterday. Like, hi, boys and girls. You want to hear a story?
I will never wear that outfit again.
Yeah. Unless the price is right. But yeah, man, dope thing. So I want to I think I'm gonna do something special with you before the night ends because I think that I might have a little bit of requests before the show ends. So stay posted. One of the things, I want to get spiritual for a second. You're very deep into like keeping, the Lord and Jesus and just religion on your side, man. Again, we're living in times that's kind of scary that people don't believe in spirituality or just keeping Jesus on the side or things of that aspect. So how big is it and how important to keep the Lord on your side?
Oh my gosh. I when I was younger, I used to be so mad at or envious of kids who had, parents that had houses in Malibu and, mansions and whatever. I'm like, how come I don't have any of that? Mm-hmm. But I think the biggest gift that I've ever received was that my family introduced me to who Jesus was, mm-hmm. At a young age. And not so much that they didn't push it on me. I grew up with it. But I also got to experience it for myself. And I'm grateful for, my spiritual parents, for walking alongside me, even during like my toughest time, my pastors, my home church, like everyone had a role, even my own mother. I'm 16 years old trying to sleep and she like, get up, you live in my house, you going to church, right? Mm-hmm. Used to be annoying as all get out. And even though when I got into my early 20s, I was out there hanging out in them streets, partying or whatever, but I never forgot where I came from. Yeah. And then when times got really, really tough, when I started grad school on a Monday, and to give some context, my grandmother went into the hospital that Saturday. And it was 2 years, long, arduous. It was painful watching her, her health decline. And her get sick like that, especially while I'm in grad school, living in Massachusetts and working for a really challenging person at the time. Yeah. And so when I tell you that I clung tight to my faith, clung tight to Jesus, that's how I got through it. I was working a full-time job and doing grad school full-time and driving back and forth from Massachusetts to New Jersey to take my grandmother to her appointments. And it's a 4-hour ride.
Yeah.
And then back.
Yeah.
And so, and that's why it's so important, because when I talk about, like, when I think about leadership and faith, those things for me they go together. So when I say that I showed up here with $500 in my pocket, something in me said, hey, you have enough faith to survive and to make it, right? Now, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done that because it sounds crazy, to go to a different state. But I had faith in God. And 6 years later, we're talking 2-time exec, and now we're talking over $100K at this point.
Yeah.
From $20.
Talk that money, Queen. Talk that money.
And so, and trust me, it's still not a whole lot, but it was done within 6 years. And again, it wasn't easy, but my God, I clung to my faith. And that's why it's just so important. Because when times get harder, you get anxiety, and even in a world that we currently live in, the shootings that are happening, like, my gosh, we are called to love others. And that's where you see me serving, even with facilitation. That's me serving people. That's me loving them. And anything that I do, even currently, my role now, when at the Methuen Youth Community Center, me going out and meeting different people, that's me loving on them, despite differences, because it's for the community, it's for the kids, and, that's servinghood. And so it's not about me.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's only right I only have you here for Black History Month. So I gotta ask you, again, we talked about the $500 and a dream, and you went from that all the way from that in less than a decade, it's safe to say. Do you look back at the progression that you made and be like, you know what? Because, we always have this talk behind the scenes, and we always say, we talked about this yesterday, that we become each other's worst enemy. And I know there's been times you give me props for things I've done and vice versa. We feed each other's compliments. And then sometimes we get to a little dark moment, like, is this even well worth it? Is anybody noticing me?
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah, did anybody? But in the long run, and I think from yesterday being a perfect example, like, I saw how beloved you are from the community that you serving, between that and the video. I think it's safe to say you can look back and say, like, I really did that. Just the way you were, like, being a diva behind the scenes, and you were acting like you were all that, like, no pictures, please. But all jokes aside, have you looked back in the progression and be like, what, I did pretty good for myself at the time being. I'm not done yet. Job's not done. But I went from that to this, and I've seen it. I've seen your drive. I've seen you going through it. I've seen the ups and downs, and you. Yeah,
you were at my grandmother's funeral.
Yeah, so yeah. I've been there. Have you seen the progression? Be like, I did pretty good for myself for now.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
No. I probably should kind of reflect a little bit more on it and give myself a little bit more love too.
And grace.
All right. And grace. And it's tough. And I think because I'm so passionate and, like, I demand excellence. And so I demand it out of myself, in which I do. It's not kind of. I do beat myself up about it. But it's something that I'm aware of and I acknowledge. And so even when I'm working with a coach, I even have a coach. And so I'm constantly thinking about and reflecting on it. But it is important to give yourself grace. Like, what? Even yesterday, because I told you, I was like, ooh, I'm out of breath. I don't think I did a good job. But everyone kept walking up to me. Kelly, thank you so much. Kelly, this was amazing.
I saw that, yeah.
And I think because I always lead with, but man, I just want to take my heart out my chest and give it to you. And so, again, kind of leading with that excellence. And so, but yeah, it's when I do sit down and think about it, it sounds absolutely bananas and crazy, because even when I think about the things I went through in high school with some of the principals, and like, wow, I did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even before that, you just mentioned earlier in the show, you talked about how the teachers, out of all things, teachers say you ain't even gonna make it. Like, it's sad. They give you the hood story. Like, she ain't gonna be much. Just take her to trade school and call it a day. Just, and your family, your grandmother's pretty much on you, and then they'll be like, no, my kid's no dummy. She just needs to be focused on this. And then once you get focused on this, we got out there, off to the races.
Well, actually, here's the interesting thing about my grandmother that I learned. When I told you that she was helping me, learn and study and hooked on phonics, the cassette tape version. Now I'm probably aging myself here, but it's fine.
Yeah. We were talking about people behind the scenes with my crew. So
She was dyslexic, severely.
Oh, wow.
She was dyslexic. And, again, nothing but the grace of God that she was able to still support me, someone who's struggling. And here she had dyslexia and didn't get diagnosed till she was older.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I continue the journey, definitely in her name, because I want to make my Nana proud, for sure.
Oh, you made her proud. Trust me.
That's going to make me cry. All right.
Yeah.
Second person on the show crying.
Drink some water. You be all right. You be all right. Walk it up. You from Jersey, remember? You from Jersey.
Listen, I get soft about my Nana, man.
You from the rough shits of Newark, Jersey, where they hijack cars and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Dirty Jersey.
Yeah.
Brick City, baby.
Oh, man. So, I guess what's next for Kelly Ford? What we got going on next?
Oh, gosh. So what's happening next is, look, that's that facilitation coming out. I'm super excited. We're going to continue to facilitate. Yeah. But I just shared that I'm the executive director of the Methuen Youth Community Center, which this has been talks about a youth community center for well over 20 years. And so Diana DeZaglio is a big supporter of this project for sure. She had raised money herself walking across all Massachusetts just to get this project going and raising the capital for it. And so I'm really excited about the project and, all the other people who have been walking alongside Senator Payano Pavel, helping out with that. And also, I'm doing my very first golf tournament that's happening.
Ford!
Yeah, my first golf tournament that's happening June 15th at the Merrimack Valley Golf Course. And so if you are interested in it, you can check out our website at MethuenYouthCommunityCenter.org.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Any final words?
Yeah, I just want to say, even when it's tough and it's hard and you feel like you can't have an out, know that God sees everything. There's always a way to figure things out. Everything is figure outable is what I tell my team.
Yeah.
And so with that push and that resolve, mentorship is key. Get people that don't even look like you. That's the other thing. And don't be afraid to ask questions. And, let's continue to show up as we are, and let's continue to push and move this work forward and encourage one another. And more importantly, if you want to lead, you need to serve, but let's love each other.
Amen. 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 Before we get out of here, I will say this, Kelly, you have not only just a spark, just an aura. And, it's funny because I know there's times I've been ready to go off and just go nutty, and you've always been like the voice of reason. And like always, I don't listen until it's too late. So
wait, hold on.
Yeah, no need for the black girl hum. I know where you're going with this. All right,
it's Black History Month, okay?
All right, whatever. Do the black woman hum. But I don't listen until it's too late. But in hindsight, I do listen. People like you need to be around because when you deal with, knuckleheads or even when people are going through it, people like you need your words and your positivity just to keep them with their eyes on the prize, to make sure it's not gloomy. And you know what? No matter what, it's always a bright day after that. So, I thank you for coming to the show. I thank you for being a friend. I thank you for doing everything you've done for the community. And we need more people like you. And I need a favor from you.
What's up?
I did this last year when I had Brother Royce on the show, so I want to do this again. I want you to end this with a prayer if it's possible.
Sure. How much time do I got?
Take all the time. Well, you know what? You got 10 minutes.
Because, listen, I grew up in a Baptist church, so we might be sitting here all day.
Yeah, and Royce damn near broke the record last time. He gave me like a 10-minute DMX prayer.
Well, you know what? Not the DMX prayer is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say the episode, but he does got a DMX story for me that he actually met him. So it's a crazy story.
That's
how that
awesome.
came out. He had a dope DMX story. How that came all out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Brother Royce.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna do it the same way that I do with every facilitation, and so I always say, like, God, less of me, more of you. And what is it that you want to say? So I'm inhaling, and so God, I just thank you for this evening. I thank you for this time. I thank you for my brother Mike. I thank you for the listeners that are listening. I thank you for every educator, every person that is God, that is just trying, Lord, that is just trying to figure it out. Every family member, every city council member, every school committee member, all of us, Lord, in this world that we're going through today. And God, that wherever they're hurting, Lord, that God, that you just have your peace and your shalom over them, Lord, Father God. And God, for the ones who are about to give up right now, Lord, Father God, that they feel like there's no way out, I ask that you just intervene, send somebody their way, Lord, Father, send some help along the way, God. And I pray for all of our children, God, that it's scary times, Lord. We have children that are saying, I don't think I'm going to make it to 20. God, that's disturbing and that's hard. Kids are afraid to go to school. Parents don't know what to do. Parents can't afford to send them places, Lord. God, I just ask that you just wrap your arms around everyone. And everyone that makes this radio show even possible, Lord, and continue for the funders and the donors, Lord, and everyone who's just trying to do a good work, Father. And pray for those who don't like us, God, or the ones who hate us for no reason, Lord. I pray for their hearts and, something that happened to them. And also that we come into a place of forgiveness and we come to a place where we want to understand and we want to just be surrounded by you. And so, God, I thank you just for this evening and even letting me be a voice tonight, Lord, and just using me and continue to use me, that I am your vessel. And so I publicly declare that, and I just pray your blessings over everyone. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And this is how we end the show, man. This is your boy, Cuban Mic. You listen to 102.9 Tape Deck. You can catch me every Friday from 6 to 7. I'll see you next time. Same Tape Deck time. Same Tape Deck channel. Kelly, 100 thank yous. Don't be a stranger. Come whatever you want,
Don't tell me that, because now I'm about to be like, we should do a podcast.
Yeah, everybody get the bug. Every time they go to my day, the bug. This is pretty good. I think I could be a regular here.
Or I could be a rapper, not me.
No, let's not be a rapper. We've done past the time. We've done past the time in that department.
Whatever.
We'll battle later on, because I know we still have them battle ciphers or whatever the case may be. But that is what it is, man. I'll catch you next time. I'm out of here. Peace.
Bye.